Jorge Mendes landing in Barcelona and sitting down for a long private conversation with Lamine Yamal is the kind of story that sounds small but smells faintly of seismic possibility. On paper, it was simple. A super agent meets his teenage client, hears about an injury, chats about recovery. In reality, the meeting's length, the later courtesy visit with Deco, and the context of men's stable of Barca players mean that a hotel room conversation could be the opening move in a much larger game. Mendes is not a casual visitor, he is a negotiator, an allocator of opportunity, and when he appears at a club's door, you have to ask what he intends to protect, to gain, or to rearrange. For Yamal, who has been the brightest young flair in European football and who has recently been managing pubic pain that sidelined him from action, a meeting with Mendes is as much about medical reality as it is about long-term career architecture. Agents do not only shuffle paperwork, they assess risk, they press for load management, they flag situations where a club's approach to a player's fitness might affect selection, compensation, and the timing of contract talks. When a young star's body becomes a bargaining chip, the consequences travel beyond the treatment room and into boardrooms and transfer corridors. The subsequent words between Mendes and Deco, Barcelona's sporting director, are where things get interesting. Deco isn't a casual name in the equation. He's the conduit through which club strategy is translated into contracts and squad planning. A respectful, private meeting between a powerful agent and the sporting director hints at negotiation, or at least alignment, an attempt to thread player welfare into the club's wider calendar and to ensure mutual benefit when the summer market arrives. Reports say Mendes discussed not only Yamal but also other players he represents at the club. That broader canvas matters because it turns a single-player medical update into a positional negotiation. If Mendes is protecting Balder, Gil, Fernandes, or Ansu Fati's interests alongside Yamal's, the leverage he carries becomes collective, and the club's calculus must respond not only to one file, but to an entire roster of relationships. Fans should pay attention to three things that will reveal whether the meeting was primarily medical or fundamentally strategic. First, the language of the club and the player in coming days. If statements focus on recovery timelines and conservative reintegration, the meeting will likely be framed as a healthcare coordination. Second, any sudden movement on contract talks or whispers of renewed negotiations. Agents sometimes use face-to-face updates to accelerate or reset renewal talks, particularly when a player's form and fitness together create bargaining power. Third, whether the narrative widens into summer planning. Are Mendes' visits referenced in the context of Barca's shopping list or wage structure? That would suggest the meeting was not just about a niggle, but about the market. There are obvious risks in overreading a hotel conversation. Clubs and agents meet all the time. Courtesy visits are normal. Yet the timing matters. Mendes' presence arrives at a point when Barcelona are planning long-term squad shape and when Yamal sits at the intersection of world-class potential and physical caution. That conjunction invites scenarios that range from the reassuring, a careful management plan that keeps Yamal on track, to the disruptive, strategic leverage used to renegotiate terms or to audition outside interest as a pressure point. For supporters, the immediate hope is simple: clarity. Will Yamal be back soon? Will the club publicly commit to a medical roadmap? Will Deco and the sporting department make explicit how they will handle minutes and recovery? The longer view is more strategic. Whoever manages Yamal's return and his contractual future will help decide whether Barcelona keep a generational talent at the heart of their project or whether outside forces make the club recalibrate. The story here is not yet a drama with an obvious villain or hero. It is a high-stakes conversation in a quiet room whose echoes could shape selection sheets, transfer lists, and even boardroom priorities. So watch the next statements, the selected minutes, and the market moves, because in football, as in politics, the smallest private meeting often signals the first move of a much larger public campaign.